now. Going live, going live. And here we are. Hello, everybody. Hello, boys and girls. How are you? This is Alejandro Castillo from Mexico City. Today, here is Friday, July 9th, 4 p.m. And I salute to my very good friend, CLAYTON LUCAS, in or close to Southampton, UK, right?
Yes, yeah, I am down on the south coast, where we've just been having that's me. Where we've just been having actually the some beach volleyball's been going on. The Commonwealth Games are around the corner, and all the England pairings, men and women, have been competing for funding. They're playing a tournament just down the road at Camford Cliffs to see who will get some extra funding to help in their bid to go to the Commonwealth. So, yep, not far from that, and it's been a not bad day today down here on the south coast.
Perfect. How's the weather right there?
Yeah, right? Quite nice. It's been a bit windy, but as you expect, I suppose, on the coast, and the sun's been out, so it's been quite warm.
Perfect. Nice to have you here again, CLAYTON. I think this is the 4th or the 5th time we talk, but it's always a pleasure to talk with people like you. Thanks a lot. You returned from Italy to UK, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Pretty tough, right? Are you tired? Or were you tired of BNL?
Do you know what? I honestly thought that, cool, I got 5 weeks of volleyball commentary, 2 games a day, every day. I'm not really sure how I'm going to manage that. The closest experience to that I've had is the World Cup in Japan, where you commentate 3 days on, but then 2 days off because everyone changes their location. So you get a bit of a break, but and you get to see and travel around Japan. We didn't have any of that. 2 games a day, every day, hotel, on the bus, on the shuttle to the venue. We did have a hire car, but that just meant you were just on your own going to the venue and back again. So I wasn't sure what it was going to be like. It was absolutely bloody brilliant. Enjoyed every second of it. Made even more special with the team that we had working there. Not just the commentators, not just Claire and Salima and Mark and Andy and everybody else. I say about Jonathan and Claire, Hannah. I think I mentioned everybody. There was 7 of us in all. So, but the production crew as well that made it all happen. The production manager Jenny Walter was amazing, and then the producers as well were phenomenal. Tom and and I forget what their names. No, I don't. So there's Tom and James and Romain as well that were really busy, and Annika as well. So it was a really tough gig in that respect, but everyone pitched in, everyone did their thing, and even the TV crew, there were 2 crews at 2 courts, so doing 4 matches a day each, and then the crews were rotating, so they were doing that every day, 4 games a day. But the quality of the broadcast was exceptional, and despite that heavy workload. So as I watched the chat you had with Doug Beale, and he was, you asked him a similar question about the event, and he said, echoed exactly what I thought there at the time. What a really good event it was. For once, it was done for television, done for the people watching at home. There were still a few things I found a little bit odd, in that we had an announcer who was announcing the teams to come out and was doing all those kind of announcery things that you have for a crowd, but there was no crowd. And in the end, it's like, well, I can understand it, but from the point, it was weird because he's announcing Facundo Conte, and then I'm going, and here comes Facundo Conte. It is. Did we need him? I think from the players' point of view there for being announced, then yes, because otherwise they'd just be walking out onto the court and they'd be like, oh, okay, someone would go, on you come on. So yes, but it was kind of a weird situation where there was, normally the announcer would be announcing to the crowd for the players to come on, but it was more actually for the players, to come out. But that aside, the music, everything else that was done, was just phenomenal. It was a really good production, and I think, as Doug Beal said, the FIVB did a really good job with that. It's something that's never been done before. 248 matches over just over 5 weeks, just under 5 weeks in whatever it was, and everyone in the bubble, and it was unprecedented. I don't think any sport's done anything like that to date. So the next thing we're going to see on that kind of scale is the Olympic Games.
With no crowds, by the way,
yes,
no fans.
Yeah, well, the latest thing is that Japan or Tokyo are going to a state of emergency on Monday. So we'll wait and see what that brings and what that means. It's ever changing. I mean, from my point of view, I'm supposed to be traveling out on Friday, and there's a whole rigmarole of things that have to be done. I've got 3 COVID tests to take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm taking my temperature daily, and I have to record that on an app. So and I'm used to this because I was getting it checked every day when I went into the venue in Italy. So we're having to do that. We're having to record that. We've been asked, told to avoid all contact in the 14 days running up to the events, and not to go anywhere, not to go to events, and try and keep as much to ourselves as possible, which I've been trying to do. Stayed around the house mostly, trying to prep actually for the games. There's 12 men's and women's teams indoors, and then we've got 24 beach teams. There's a whole lot of stuff. Is it 24 men and women? Isn't it? There's a whole bunch of beach volleyball. I'm not doing quite that much beach volleyball, but mostly for me it'll be indoor volleyball in Tokyo.
Perfect. Clayton, what do you think we will see of a difference in the protocols from BNL to Olympics? It's gonna be pretty the same, right?
I think so. I think one thing they probably will have in Japan that they didn't have at the VNL is that they might well be court wipers. It's funny, isn't it? Things happen and you think, oh, this is really good, and then people find a way to exploit it. And so what did the teams do? Oh, we're losing points. Oh,
we need more time to wipe.
There's definitely some sweat on the court. Don't worry, I'll clean it up. And then, oh no, there's a little bit more. I'll come back, clean that up. And we were getting these little little breaks, weren't we? And later on, as teams became more aware of it, later on in that tournament, it was fairly evident to me. It's like, oh, here we go. Right then. So here comes a timeout. It's like cleaning the floor. Yeah, it's funny. Whatever new rule comes in to any sport, really, this doesn't take long for people to find a way to use it to their advantage.
Yeah, right. No, come on, please.
Oh no, I was just saying. So I think what we'll see in Tokyo is I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody there to clean the court. I know that the referees roster was reduced to what was going to be going, and so not as many referees are going. So that probably perhaps a bit more of a workload. And as for the rest of it, I don't know if we're going to have line judges or not, is the honest answer to that. But I think what we saw with the VNL was we don't need them because of
except for the antenna plays. Yuhi Kang last week was here. He told me it's almost sure there will be line judges.
Great,
especially because of the antennas, not the lines.
We need someone to do that. And it's right. The referees find that difficult to see. And there's there are things that happen right under the referee, the first referee, and right and furthest away from the referee that are genuinely difficult to see and difficult to work out what's going on. And because obviously the second referee is looking at the block when the attack's coming, they're on the same side as the block. They're looking at all of this. They're not looking at the antenna. So things that come off, they're looking at that what the players are doing. Are they touching the net? Are they coming under the center line, and so on? So they're not really looking necessarily at what the ball is doing. It's more at what the block is doing.
Right. Okay. Well, let's see. Clayton, do you know if there are, or how good was the rating in the television for VNL in the app?
Oh,
do you have some data or not yet?
So fan engagement, I've absolutely no idea.
Oh, let's ask Miss Tichenko in Lausanne.
Well, maybe I could ask the guys at FIVB Digital. I think I think it was very successful because they really did push the digital platform, and
Yeah,
so
right.
there were, there was little clips of stuff. They actually had, so part of the fan engagement was the FIVB contracted people around the world to watch the games. They had designated games they would watch, and they would be picking out what they thought were the best moments. So they would be clipping up to doing what we call a log sheet. So when you're filming a game and it's going to be produced, you create a log of each point, so that then when it goes back to be edited, you can pick out, and then you put a little note, great point, so that you can pick out what you need in the highlights. So they had people doing that, not every point, but what they were doing was picking out those funny moments, those unique moments, great moments, great rallies, and all of that was then getting out onto social media very quickly after the live game, and then the highlights were going out, within a few hours, if not certainly by the following day. So there was always, as well as the live show, there was lots of information, lots of fan engagement going on from the FIVB.
Wonderful. Well, we will see if we can review that data later. But well, we will talk right now about the teams, about the competition. We will start with beach volleyball, then indoor volleyball. I don't know if we can call it a predictions, but well, it's an analysis of what we think with the information we have of the teams that can reach semifinals, right?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely, yes, definitely. But let's put a massive, one huge caveat into all of this, and that is, this is sport and anything can happen, and probably will. Let's just take a quick look back at the games in Rio in 2016, and who got a bronze medal in the men? Nikolai and Lupo. Who would have thought they would get a bronze medal, other than them, their friends and family? Probably not
for
many.
Sure, yeah.
Of that. So and then again, you look at how Germany seem to do when it comes to these big events. We have, Brink and Reckerman suddenly, boom, we're just going to win an Olympic medal, and then you get Ludwig and Volkanovs doing it in 2016. Boom, let's get a gold medal. So teams that haven't had massive success in the lead up, but it comes right for them on the day, and then it can happen. So that's the big caveat in everything we're going to talk about going forward. And it's my little get out clause for me not really knowing what's going on. But if we look at the beach event,
okay,
and,
just give me a minute, please. Give me a minute.
Okay, you're going to put up the
right.
Look at the teams. So just while we're waiting for that to come up, it's going to be at the Shiokazu Park, which hosts 12,000 people. Or does it?
I have pictures of venues. Please give me a second, because I have a lot of information.
Of course you have. I think you should be coming with me, actually, as my research assistant.
Okay. And Shiokaze is for beach and Ariake Arena for indoor.
Yeah.
But
and not much between them. There's only 3,000 extra seats for the indoor. Look at that. It looks look at that, doesn't it? How similar does that look to Horse Guards Parade? London 2012. Almost identical.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's a shame that there will be no fans. It's a real shame.
It is a shame. From the players' point of view, when you look at that and you think, yes, you go into an Olympic Games, and historically, since beach volleyball came in, I think it was Athens, 96, obviously Atlanta,
96,
and then you went to 2000 Sydney, and it's even from 96, every ticket sold out. The most sought after ticket has been beach volleyball at the Olympics, and so to go to one and there'd be nobody there, that's probably going to be quite a bit of a culture shock for those players that have been before.
Do you know if here in Tokyo there will be 3 shifts as in Rio?
There will be free seats.
3 shifts.
Oh right, yes. I'm not sure actually, because one of the things, or one of the big concerns about Tokyo is this time of year is the weather conditions, how hot it can get, and so actually I tell you what, because I did get a provisional roster of what I was going to be doing. So looking at just looking at times here, beach volleyball. Yeah, see, beach volleyball, one of the sessions is 10 to 8 in the evening until 11 o'clock at night. And then I think there's early sessions, which, yeah, at 9 o'clock in the morning till 11 is a morning session. I don't know that there, what if and what 12:50. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so maybe there's an afternoon session as well, but you know, the session, there's definitely an evening session and an early morning session to overcome issues around humidity and heat.
Okay, let's review just the podium in Rio. Okay.
Oh, it's silver they got. So I said they were bronze. I do apologize. There's me saying they got bronze. And no, of course they got silver. But look at that. All of those players from Rio are all here going to
on the men's side, all of them.
All of them. Obviously, Cerruti, Allison, and Bruno not with each other. I think Bruno with Evandro is the stronger Brazil pairing. If Evandro gets his serve going, it's game over. And then Brouwer and Musin, I was looking at them actually today and just thinking to myself, you know, another team that, you know, they're world champions. Was it 2015 in Poland? They can come good at the right time for them. And yeah, we could well see those teams. I think Bruno over Allison, maybe taking the podium again. And yeah, the Volley Vikings, what a great pairing. Brilliant. They've just had a bit of an upset against Russia, the current world champions. Again, Krasilnikov and Stoyanovsky.
Yeah.
Another team that could easily be on the podium, as well as the Volley Vikings. And we must not forget Ahmed and Sherif.
All right.
I think they could, for me, I'd be surprised if they didn't end up with a medal. That's looking at the way that they can play.
Well, on the women's side, Lara Ludwig with a new partner.
Yes.
Agatha also playing on these Olympics, and April Ross playing, but not with Kerry Walsh.
No, Ross and Alex and April, I think, are looking very strong. When I looked, and I wrote down who I thought might make it to the sort of, there's quite a few players, a few teams for the women. Clay's Sponsor have come really good. They earned. Or looking at the men to start with. So looking at the men, I put down Brouwer, Musin, Karambula, Rossi, things go well for them. Mol Sorum, Ahmed Sherif, Bruno Evandro, Krasilnikov, Stoyanovsky, and Gibb and Crab. I think Gibb and Crab, another team that it's all so close. When you look at these, we could cross off teams here that we know won't make it. Okay, we can take out Spain, Australia, Argentina, Mexico, Morocco, Chile. We can take out Japan. I think we can take out Switzerland and Germany.
Yeah.
And then after that, I mean, even I think like Perisic and Schreiner, Perisic, they could come good, but I think we probably cut them out. I cut out Latvia as well. But you're still looking, that's still a really strong, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 teams or so, 8 to 10 teams that you think, cool, who's gonna get this? And it's gonna come down to one good game. It's gonna change the fortune of one of those teams. And then even those ones I've just discounted, who knows? They could go good, could come good. But I think from Pool C, you're going to see certainly Sherif and Ahmed, Gibb and Crab, big battle with them, and Karambula Rossi, Krasilnikov, Stoyanovsky. They've got nothing in there. They got one of the, looks to me a pretty easy pool. Okay, mustn't underestimate Plavins and Tox or Perisic and Schreiner. We'd expect Krasilnikov, Stoyanovsky to finish top of that pool. Mol Sorum, again, expect them to finish top of their pool.
Yeah.
I think there's to be a fight between Allison and Alvaro. I think Brouwer, Musin. There's 3 teams there: Brazil, Netherlands, USA.
Pool D is very strong. I think Brazil, Netherlands, and USA.
Definitely, all of those 3. Any of those 3 capable of finishing top in that pool. And then in Pool E, it's going to be Evandro Bruno, I think, with a battle against Spielek and Briel. And in Pool F, well, it's, I think, Nikolai Lupo battling with Cancel Wozniak for the top spot.
Right.
And I guess, so yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah.
Can you mention your favorite for the semifinals Do you have some names on mind?
I
4 teams that can make the semifinals.
my 4 teams I wrote down. Here we go.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
I have mine. I also have mine.
Okay, let's see. I've got Mol Sorum,
I agree.
Ahmed Sharif,
Dude, agree.
Bruno Evandro.
I prefer Alisson and Alvaro.
Do
really.
you? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's not going to happen. and then I've got I put my first thought was to put Kryzilnikov and Stoyanovsky in.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking, and then 3 other teams came to mind. Well, 4, then another 4 teams come to mind, don't they? You got Gib Crab, Bram Musen, Karambula Rossi, and Nikolai Lupo. You can't write off Nikolai and Lupo. They've got the experience. They've been there. They've been to a final. They would dearly love to get back to it. Has the last 5 years, are they past their best? Are they on that downward slope now? With the likes of Mol Sorum, Ahmed Sharif, Bruno Evandro, even Bruno Evandro are also like, coming down the slope.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one. But I'd say if we had to pick, certainly we're on a similar page, aren't we, with who we're going for?
Yeah, right. My first 4, it's the same, just not Alisson. I go with Alisson and Alvaro, even over Evandro and Bruno. And the other 4, I can say I really like Bru and Mihusen from Netherlands. I would love the Lucen and the Hauser can make the semi-final, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
What a story that would be if are they the oldest team? They got to be.
No, the oldest is Jay Gibb is 45.
Oh, right.
Jay Gibb is the oldest player in beach or indoor to ever play in an Olympics.
But I meant as a combined age. I was wondering if Dalhausser Lucena might just
maybe. Yeah, maybe Dalhausser is 41.
Mind you, Herrera, Gavira, they're nearly 50 each, aren't they? They've been going forever. I no disrespect to Herrera, Gavira.
Well, for these games, the elder is Jay Gibb.
Right. The elder statesman. And I've seen his workouts he's been putting on social media. He's working hard. I mean, he's really putting the hours in. It's incredible.
Yeah, right. Well, I also like the team of Perisic Schreiner.
Right.
Let's see what happened, and also like the other Russian team, the Semenov Leshukov. I think they can make a surprise.
Yeah, I think Semenov is about what he's got up in his head, and if he's switched on up here, definitely.
Yeah. Well, anything else on the men's side?
No, I just think from what we've just spoke about, it just is so difficult to call, isn't it? You think and then there are another 4 teams that you can think actually they could do it, and especially with Mol Sorum losing to Kryzilnikov and Stoyanovsky, then they're not invincible, and anything can happen on the day when they step onto the sand.
Yeah, right. Of course. Sorry. Okay. Oops. Okay. Now let's go with the women's side. I gotta tell you that next week I will have here in the show Jose Maria Padron, Chema Padron from Spain.
Nice. Bueno.
You know, right now he's the rock star of the beach volleyball referees.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
Oh, it's very nice, very nice. My friend. Jose Maria. Well, Chema in Spanish language to Jose Marias, we call them Chema. 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 So next time you see Padron, you can say, "Hey, Chema, how are you?"
I will definitely say that. I might even just name check him that as well when I introduce him as a referee.
Okay, and here's the women's side. Very interesting, also.
It is interesting. I had a 4 for the men, but I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 teams that jump out at you straight away. Okay. That you think, okay, so Clay Sponsel, April and Alex, Pavan and Melissa Paredes, Artacho, Taliqua.
Of course, today they lost in Gstaad, but well, Gstaad it's only for preparation.
Yeah, right. And exactly. So, but then we've still got Agata Duda.
Yeah,
Anna,
agree.
and you can't write off Ludwig and Kozuk, really, because she's the defending, Ludwig wants to go and win it again. So we take those kind of thing. Yeah, Bansley, Brandy, Agatha Duda, that's a tough one. Mike Gay and Pereira can play well on the day. They're never an easy team to get past. You never know quite what you're going to get against China as well, the team that turns up to play. So that's a tough Pool C. I think April and Alex have got a relatively easy pool in Pool B for them. They'll be pleased with that when they look at who they've got to play. Kaiser Meppelink, Liliana, Elsa, and then Zhu and Wang. So
well, I will also add to the teams you mentioned, Makrogusova and Kolomina, and the Latvians, Kravtsenovka and Graudina. They have been playing very well in Gstaad.
There you go. So they're coming well at the right time for them. There's some great games. That Pool D game, Anna, Patricia, Rebecca against Clay Sponsel. That's going to be a great game to watch. April and Alex against Kaiser Meppelink. Agda Duda against Bansley and Brandy. What a great game that will be. And then you've got Clancy and Artacho
versus Russia.
Yeah, I think that could be a tough one for them. Kolomina and Makrogusova.
And in the FA pool, Japan, I think it's out of the next stage. But what do you think about the SECA team, Hermanova and Zlukova?
Yeah, they're good. And then Betschart and Hubeli also, they're not to be discounted.
Yeah.
I think for most of the European teams that are here, they've had to work really, really hard to get there, as is mostly the case with volleyball and beach volleyball. I know there's the continental qualifiers and everything else that goes on, but these are the top. These are, for the most part, the top teams that have qualified through with all their hard work over the seasons on the tour to get where they're at. And you've got some continental qualifiers who will enjoy the fact that they are where they're at, and just to be there and to play. Stam and Schoon as well. Again, another team. They've all had their moments. When you look at this list of teams and you look at the tournaments and you look at the matches that they played. So there's Dupree with her partner Heydrich. You just think, they can all play well. Even everybody can.
Sude and Borger also from Germany.
Yes, it's a tough one.
Yeah, right.
Tough one. But then you look at, there are ones that do jump out at you, and that's in Pool D. It's Brazil, USA. In Pool A, it's Canada, Sweden. I think Switzerland. Pool B, USA. Straight away, going to be top. And I think we'll see Agatha Duda get the better of Bansley Brandy for top, but that could be a 2-1, and it could be either way. And then in Pool F, probably the most difficult one to say who's going to finish top. I think you'll probably even Hermanova and Shlikova could end up being top of that group.
What are the chances of teams like Argentina, Kenya, Cuba?
Do you know what, Cuba, actually, Lydia Leila, we saw from the Cuban teams that played in Cancun, they're really good. And because they're just so athletic. And sometimes they don't play to form. They don't, it's not the kind of beach volleyball you're expecting to play against. And so how do you deal with that when things are suddenly expecting the ball to hit the sand and it doesn't, and suddenly it's coming back over and it's going, how did that happen? So they're one of those unknowns that could do well as far as that goes. That's why everyone's going to have to be on their toes and play their best. They can't take anything for granted.
Okay, perfect. Anything else on the beach volleyball side?
No, I think if we had to pick our top 4, who have you gone for?
Me?
Yeah.
The A team, Alex and April.
Mm-hmm.
Pavan and Melissa. Agata Dura and Clancy Artacho Solar.
Okay, I'm going to go both Brazil and both USA.
Both Brazil and both USA, okay.
I'm not sure if it's actually possible. It may be that it's not, because of the way the pools work and who they have to play each other. They might end up playing each other before then. But if they don't, and it does work out, then yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? A USA Brazil semi-final, or even USA Brazil semi-final.
I have to be honest with you. I have not watched so many matches of Anna Patricia and Rebecca, but well, they are seated in fourth place.
Yeah, they've been good. I watched them, saw mostly them through Cancun, but just what I saw, they don't look. You look at them and you think, are they going to be all right? They don't look that they just go about and do what they just keep going, and they hit hard, and they're in the right place to make the plays defensively. It's a decent block. It's a block that is threatening at the net. They've got everything. They need to be a real threat and a real medal contender.
Well, I have also to be honest with you. I expect a lot from Pavan and Melissa, but let's be honest, the last tournament hasn't been the best for them.
No, I think Pavan at times, you kind of expect more from her. She kind of, you really want her to go up and hit the ball. So when Duda goes up, she hits the ball for Brazil. It's hit. It stays hit. Pavan goes up and it's and then it's and then it's you think she's going to go up and go, and she's I've never really seen her go and hit
considering her height.
Yes,
she must,
weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll
okay.
See.
Well, perfect. Now I want to show you the venue for indoor volleyball. Amazing.
It's been reclaimed from the sea, from Tokyo Bay. This venue. Not that it was in the sea. They reclaimed that, and then they built it on the top, 15,000 seater, and it's literally, I think, maybe 400 or 500 meters from the International Broadcast Center where I'm going to be working now. Just in case anyone was wondering what happens when you go out to commentate at Olympic Games, depending on what sport you're doing, dictates where you're going to be to commentate it. And the reason for that is because some of them they just go out live when they go out. So the athletics goes out live as is, and so the commentators are in the venue because there's also little things going on around. But volleyball is one of the sports that can go out at different times. So it can be time delayed. It can be recorded earlier, and I might commentate it live, but it might not go out till later. It might be recorded earlier, and then I would commentate it as live. So because of those issues and time delays and time shifts, the commentary for the volleyball is always done off tube at the International Broadcast Center. So in a booth, watching the screen, watching exactly what you're watching as it happens. So that's one of the quirks of that. You go all the way out to Japan, all the way out to Rio, and then commentate it off tube. But it's still great. Hopefully I'll get a chance to go and have a look in the venue, because my accreditation, which I must not forget, otherwise I'll be in trouble. So that allows, so you can see the ARA, the ART, and the SHP. Those are the venues to which I have access. So I've got access to the Ariake, I've got access to the
ART,
and also access to the Ariake Tennis Park, because I'm going to be commentating on tennis at the Paralympics.
All right, perfect, great. So this is a great venue. It's a venue that was built for volleyball, and it's a totally shame that it's going to be empty of fans. But well, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is a shame. But I guess, and for the teams as well that have been to the VNL, it's going to be great. They've had the perfect prep to go to that venue and to do exactly what they've been doing for the last 5 weeks.
But do you think that the players obviously they prefer to have fans in the stands?
Do you know what I think you get used to, don't you? You well, I say you get used to it. For those of us that played their volleyball and never had any fans, it didn't make any difference. But for those there, when you play in big tournaments like that, and Poland opening match for the World Championships, it was in front of
in a football stadium.
Yeah. So that's massive. Now, but what we saw at the VNL was the intensity was still there, the rivalry was still there, the level of volleyball was still there, the celebrations were just as big, and it meant just as much, regardless of the fans not being there to shout and scream and create the noise. It was still fascinating and intensely enjoyable high level volleyball, and I think we're going to see that again here at the Ariake.
Yeah, I think the only difference is, in VNL, it was an expo center adapted for volleyball court, but this is a venue that has been built to host volleyball competitions. I think that's the main difference.
Oh, it's incredible. And it's going to go and be used then afterwards. It'll have a legacy. So it'll be used for communal sports hall and be used by the Tokyo population afterwards.
We have some comments here in the YouTube feed. Pantech says, "This is Fred in Japan." Okay, hello, Fred.
Fred. Hey, Fred. Fred Parker. He wants me to bring him some custard powder and Yorkshire tea. I haven't forgotten, but I haven't gotten it yet. But I will get it for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, Pantech also says, but the Japanese fans at home games are so fantastic. Comment. Yes, they're fantastic. It's a big fan base. But one thing that amazed me, if, for example, here in Mexico, 5 years ago, when we host the Olympic qualification tournament in Mexico City, in the venue for the 68 Olympics, there were 16,000 people roaring and clapping and making so noise. But I think it's a Japanese thing, but they are always seated with these clappers. It's okay. But
do you know what? I think it's Mark Lebedew actually just posted some volleyball from way back in the 70s, and it was Japan against Poland. And I'm not kidding. It could have been Japan against Poland in 2019 because the crowd noise was exactly the same pitch, the same tone, the same time.
In the World Cup.
Yeah. So, but the World Cup 29. Every time Japan play, every time they have a Japanese crowd are in, it's the same. Almost, you could take that crowd noise from 2019, and if you overlaid it over the match that Mark put on the internet from 1979 or whenever it was, it's exactly the same. And then it was with the little clap, and now they got this.
But it's a comment in the good way, okay? It's just different.
Yeah. That's just what the fan. I mean, it's brilliant, but it's very
very standard, pretty standard.
Yeah. It's still exciting.
Pretty standard through the years. Pantech also says Japan's men's and women's volleyball teams look quite good. What do you think, Clayton? We will watch this analysis right now. Here are the pools. First, we will review the men's pools. Do you want only to see these, or I will go to the rosters?
We can have a look at the rosters. I mean, there's some interesting omissions across some of the teams, and some interesting additions as well. When you look at, I think these are the two pools for men's, women's. So I think when we look at the men, the women's, or say we're looking at the men's, the teams that aren't going to get out of the pool are certainly Venezuela and Tunisia. They're not getting out
for sure.
Yeah, and then I think the battle in Pool A is between Canada and Iran.
Yeah, right.
To get out, I think Japan will get out of the pool, just because they, even though they are short one outside hitter, really, I still think they can do it based on how they played at the VNL and the fact they're playing every other day. So I think the battle is going to be between Canada and Iran. In Pool B, I think it'll be Brazil, USA, France, and a battle between Argentina and Russia. Russia without a couple of players, and I think Argentina with a couple of players that weren't at the VNL that go in there. So they'll be strong again, and they're so difficult to play against with Soleil and the middle block. The way the middles hit is unlike any other set of middle blockers I've ever seen hit a ball. When they come in and they come up and they come here and then they go and then they hit all the way over here, or they come in and then hit back over that. So they're always turning and creating these, very different to what you see most middle blockers come in and how they attack the ball, which makes them so difficult to play against. So I think potentially Argentina might just pip Russia in that one.
Really? And what do you think of USA? It's gonna be hard
US
for
who?
USA.
So US who?
USA.
US who? Look, it was a really interesting set of circumstances for both USA teams, actually. And a couple of things that were done that I still can't quite understand why they were done. And the big thing was naming their rosters halfway through the VNL. So that squad of 19 plus players that have gone to the VNL for 5 weeks, all holding on to the hope that they will qualify for the team to go to the Olympic Games. And even though it was stated, certainly for the USA women, that this is going to happen, we're doing this is how we're doing it, this is our plan, we're going to name the roster before the end of the VNL.
That was a little weird, I think.
It was incredibly weird, and it was incredibly awkward. Because
what did you expect for the performance of the team on the rest of the tournament?
Well, look. I watched. I'm sat there. I'm meters away from Tatori Dixon. Okay, for the USA women,
Two-time Olympian.
Yeah, she knows she's not going. Okay, she gets cut. She's not going to the Olympics. Her VNL is effectively over, and she's there on the subs bench, and she is not at all interested. And you can see it. Your body language. She's like, and then also there's like this dancing stuff going. She's just like, and then they turn to her and she goes,
"Hi, what can you tell me about Ben Patch? Ben Patch was devastated."
He's that enigma though, isn't he? Ben Patch, you can't fail but to love him, and he's a phenom. Okay, like Big Burn for Canada. They both jump out of the gym. Okay, they've got these phenomenal, ridiculously high jumps, and then off the top of that, both of them don't really use that to their absolute best. They don't have that consistency that you would get from other opposites who don't jump as high.
Nimir, from Mikhailov.
Mikhailov wasn't jumping anywhere near as high as he used to, but he was
Zaitsev.
Still bang, bang, bang. And Zaitsev.
Kurek was amazing. Wallace.
Incredible. Wallace, yes, incredible and consistent. Patch and Sharon, and we're talking about Patch. Patch just didn't have that consistency. He really needed a bit of a rocket. And suddenly, I think when he suddenly realized, oh, my place is on the line here, we saw some incredible performances from him. But I think it might just be, it turned out to be too little too late in that respect. And I guess from John Spiro's point of view.
Clayton, I do agree with you about the inconsistency of Ben Patch, but Kai Lensing is not the answer, I think.
Look, but we can think what we like. I watched him play. I watched the Carl Lensing play, and yeah, he did what was asked of him. He's still growing. He's still learning. He's the next generation of USA players. He's going to be the guy that's going to be the number one opposite in the not too distant future. Even if Patch had gone, then both Patch and Anderson are probably coming to the end of their volleyball careers. And I guess so we can only speculate.
Yeah, right.
Speculation might well be that Spiro's not just thinking about now. He probably, if he's got, if we looking from the outside in and we look at that team, we know that's a team that's not going to win a gold medal in Tokyo. And for those that go, oh, you can't say that. That's okay. Let's just be pragmatic and look at the results. Look at how the VNL went. Look at the issues they have in certain positions. I think setting best in the world. Micah Christensen is
Rivero, best in the world.
Yeah, so, you've got the spine of the team is almost there. in those two. But then we're struggling to prop that up with two more consistent passers.
Yeah, no Russell. Taylor Sander is not
Taylor
at his
Sanders coming back.
100%.
Yeah, I think Muaga Tatia is going to be the starter. I think he's doing a great job. He's the more consistent, and he's an experienced, journeyed volleyball player who I think he was back. He was in the team back in 2013, 2014. Didn't go to the Olympics. Kind of was. I generally thought he wasn't in the team anymore. I actually went looking for him to see if he would be a assistant co-commentator for the VNL in Chicago, and then it turns out he's in the roster. It's like, oh wow, that's brilliant. So out of nowhere, but now he's commanding a place. Whether I think if Russell was fit, Russell would be going, of course, and then I think DeFalco wouldn't go. Muaga Tatia would go ahead of DeFalco. The middles are fine. I think you could argue over Stahl going ahead of
Jeff Jendrick.
But Stahl is so quick. He's in early, he's up high, and he hits quick. I mean, really, really quick. And I think maybe that was the thing they wanted, that bit of pace, to be up there and be a real threat, because they need that. They're going to need that to give their wing hitters the best chance against one-on-ones. I think that's where they're going to struggle if they can't really sell the middle. And as we saw in the VNL against two blockers, DeFalco struggled. Sander coming back to fitness. Muaga Tatia was a little bit hit and miss. So I just think from that point of view that they're going to struggle. I don't think they're going to be on a podium. And then so if John Sparrow, getting back to the point, if John Sparrow's thinking the same thing, or just not even that, but just thinking, actually, I need something for the future here. We are building a program. It doesn't all end and we just start again. You want to keep a transition, and you want players to go through so that you get to an Olympics and suddenly everyone going to the Olympics is not going there for the first time. We are seeing quite a few teams that have got a high number of debutantes, but even so, 4 or 5 players that have been there before. And you really need that to really help with the team and to get through those tough games.
Yeah, right. Clayton, do you want to see the rosters starting with women's or men's?
I don't mind.
Oh?
Surprise me.
It's just women or men. Not more choices.
Okay. Whatever.
This is women's, okay? Any team especially? I want to make a commentary. I'm a little surprised that Dominican Republic are getting 2 liberos. Italy just one opposite, just no backup for Gonu.
I think on the face of it, when you look at that and you think, oh right, Paolo, just Paolo Igonu, and no one else. So yeah, you're kind of betting on her not getting injured. But 1 game a day, and yeah, do we expect anyone else to get injured? No. I'm surprised that. So when we look at that, so we're looking at Brazil for the moment.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Do you want to stick with Brazil? Because we were talking about Italy.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Caroline Gataz, blocker, Rosa Maria Macris, great setter, Roberta, Gabi Guimarães.
I think I don't think there's any surprises for the Brazilian team. Camila Breit, who was cut. So for the last 2 Olympics, she got cut. She didn't make the team. So 12 and 16, Camila Breit, and particularly leading into 16, she was the starting libero, and then Leia took her place at the Olympics. So she'll be delighted. She really has earned her spot. I'm looking forward to seeing how the guys will do. I think from their perspective, just looking at the number of debutants, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of this team are making their debut at Olympic Games. So, but then you look at the guys that have been there before. So Tandara has got a gold medal from 2012. She didn't go into Rio because she just had a baby, so she didn't play for that reason. And then Natalia is back. She's fit. She'll be playing. She's got a few games under her belt. And again, a gold medalist from 2012. Faye Garay, gold medalist from 2012. And Gabby, interestingly, her first games was in 2016. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4 players with the experience, but 3 of them have got gold medals. So that's really a really big thing for them. And I guess in terms of the middles, no real surprises for any of the players that went. You could argue maybe that for those that missed out, Sheila, well, she was only there, really, Sheila was there just for morale and everything else. I don't think she really thought she was going to go to an Olympics. Lorena in the opposite slot, not going to, I think Rosa Maria did well enough I know she's down as an outside, but I think she is the opposite, isn't she? Yeah, she is down the opposite, so she's the second opposite, and she played really well, and she came on, and I think earned her spot. So I wasn't surprised with the squad that Sir Roberto announced for Brazil at all. For Turkey,
Turkey. Yeah.
Just get my Turkish team.
Hey, for Turkey, I remember if it was you or it were Mark Lebedo told me that the biggest enemy of Turkey is Giovanni. You told me that, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think I did. and I think we saw it again. You know, he's great, and he's great when it's going well. And we saw it again in the VNL. Once it's not, and Mark. Funny enough, Mark is now he's a coach, a commentating guru. Now as being coaching guru, as a commentary wizard. But he picked up on the fact that as well that I've been seeing for a while, that coaches who spend their time in timeouts telling you what you've done wrong, that's not coaching. That's shutting players out. That's switching players off, and that's disassociating yourself from them as a coach. Guidetti's great when things are going well, and I think he's getting better at not doing it. But when he really gets frustrated, then he's got his clipboard, hasn't he? And you've seen him. And he's down there with his, and he's got it under, and he's like, yeah. He's just off, and he's like, come on, just tell me.
Like the Carpool school, and Carpool is.
Well, then that's the thing, and Carpool was definitely the worst. I mean, he was in out and out abuse.
But that was 4 years ago. This is 2021.
I know. I mean, there's no place for it. There's no place for. It's just pointless. No one's trying to make a mistake. All right, we've got a game plan. We want to execute. Can we execute it? Have we got the skills to execute it? Are the team so good that we just can't do it anyway, because no matter what we try, it's not working? In which case, we've got to figure out something else, not just scream and shout at players. It doesn't work. It doesn't help. Looking at the squad, a good squad. I think they, in terms of, they only had 3 losses or 4 losses. They lost to, interestingly, they lost to the Dominican Republic, which was an interesting loss. The other teams they lost to Japan, and then they lost to the USA and lost to Brazil. They took a set in each of them, but I think Turkey could be, one of those teams. A team that can flatter to deceive at times. They'll need to play really well. I certainly think they'll make it into the quarterfinals, but they're going to have to. I think they'll finish. I think I had them down as. Making it, but then having to play China is a 1v4. Because for those of you that don't know, the quarterfinals for the indoor volleyball, 1 plays 4. So 1A plays 4B, 1B plays 4A. But then it's a drawing of lots for the second and third place teams. So it won't be 2 in A plays 3 in B. It could be 2 plays 2 and 3 plays 3. So that one is a little bit more difficult to then work out the permutations from that. But I certainly think that Turkey could get out. They'll need to get out and finish third if they want to avoid playing China.
Okay, well,
play Brazil or Serbia. So that's I think Turkey in that pool of China, USA, Italy.
China, USA, Italy, yeah.
And then Turkey 4th for me. I think Russia won't do it, and Argentina won't do it. I think it will be that will be the four. And I think it will be China first. I think it will be close between the USA and Italy. And I think Turkey will be fourth, which means that they'll be playing the first place team in Pool A, which will be Brazil.
Brazil, second Serbia, third Japan.
Then Japan,
and fourth Dominican Republic, I think.
I think so. Yeah, I think Dominican Republic over Korea.
So you put China in first place over USA
in Pool B. I mean, look, there's no question that when Jenny Lang Ping brought the 6 players over, they just beat everybody for fun.
Yeah, it was another whole team.
It was, and it allowed, the one thing it allowed China to do was the Zhang Changning, number 9, the captain, who was kind of leading the team and had a little bit of pressure on her through the outside. Suddenly, she's playing in a team where, she's perceived the weakest player, because she was playing, Zhang Changning was playing, and Zhu Ting was actually taking some time on the bench. So that's how strong the team suddenly became. And for her, she was able to grow, and she played marvelous, absolutely brilliant, with the other more experienced players around us. It's, for me, China all day. For me, it's I'd be surprised if China didn't win gold, based on what we've seen in the VNL. And we can say, oh yeah, but Italy weren't there, and Serbia didn't put their neither of them put their best team out. Well, that might be they might be ruining that when it comes to the Olympics, that they didn't put their best team out, and they didn't go to the VNL, and they didn't get to see what they're up against China. And it could be a bit of a sharp shock for Italy against China if they're not careful.
Okay, so in that scenario, China would beat Dominican Republic in quarters.
Yep.
Then you mentioned Italy versus Brazil.
Yeah, do you know, I wrote
it makes very sense to me. Brazil winning. The other match, USA versus number 3 Japan. I think USA wins, and the other, it's you mentioned.
So I think that our goal. I think the gold medal match. So you heard it here first, everybody. For me, getting it, having a raving failure and getting it completely wrong. But I think China, Brazil for gold, Italy, USA for bronze.
Really?
What do you think to that?
Well, I really like more USA winning goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's. Okay, I'll give you USA. China, USA. China win gold.
Okay, maybe. What can I tell you?
Well, look. Actually,
hey, look at my shirt.
Oh, okay. Fine.
No. You must have tons of jerseys.
Do you know what? That's the one thing I don't have. I don't have any jerseys, but I do have this.
Oh, great. Amazing.
Yep. So I was fortunate enough. I was having a chat, as you do when you're at these things, with Paulo Barros, Coco, the assistant coach for Brazil women. We've met over the years, mostly in kind of airport lounges, waiting to get on a plane. We kind of struck up a friendship, been chatting, talking about stuff, and kept in touch. And I just said to him, I said, is there any chance the girls might sign a shirt? And he went, yeah, of course, that's easy. Give it here. Took it off me, and they signed it. So that's going to get framed and will go on the wall. So that's yeah. I haven't got any. I've got my old playing jersey when I played for England. That's about it now. Nothing else. So you think that the USA women will be taking home gold?
I think yes. I think they are very well prepared. I think Garch is very, very focused. They have, I think they have covered almost all the positions. Obviously, China, it's always hard, especially with shooting. As you mentioned in VNL, we watched 2 Chinas. The first half China and the second half China. And well, the second half China
So
Didn't.
let's just refresh your memory on that then, shall we? Alejandro and everybody else watching. So
Yes,
yes,
of course. That's why you are here. That's why you are here, Clayton.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the last game, and you could argue, all right, USA, you know, they were in the top four, didn't matter, but 25-10 in first set, 25-20, 25-17. That was a thrashing from China against. Let's see who started for the USA. So Hancock setting. All right, put Tap through the middle. Drew's in the opposite slot. Bart Chackley outside. Akin Raduo through the middle with Washington through the middle, and Kelsey Robinson outside. Now that's not far off his top team. His top team, I think, will be Poulter setting, Washington in the opposite slot. Sorry, not Washington.
Over Andy Drews?
Thompson in the opposite slot.
Jordan Thompson, yeah.
Yeah, over in the opposite slot. And then Larson and Robinson through the outside. And I think he'll go with Washington and Akin Raduo through the middle. And I still don't think that will be good enough. Annie Drews has been playing really well. Suddenly, I think another player that was realizing, I've got to play for my position here. Thompson's playing great. And so she stepped up. But Drews still has she likes to hit fast on a low ball. But when she gets brought inside the block and she comes in that gap between outside and middle, she still hits fast and low in her swing, and she gets blocked. So a well-formed block on a ball that's inside, she struggles with. I think that's her only Achilles heel. So long as Poulter can keep putting the ball wide to her to give her the option to hit the angle and then hit back to the line, she's going to be great. But I think Thompson, really impressed with Thompson, real athlete.
Okay, perfect.
Will it be good enough to beat China? I don't think it will. I really don't.
Yeah, you have a point. We have a comment here. Volleyball Development Camp says USA versus China. What about the libero?
About the liberos, so Wongarantes and I think Wongarantes. So that's Bob and Deb Pickens, or it could be John Biddiscombe. Hi, John. Hi, Bob. Hi, Deb. Volleyball Development Camps. So yeah. So
in England, they're in England.
Yes, they're in England. Bob and Deb are Americans who live in England and passionate volleyball lovers. They're and they've set up this volleyball development camps. They run them during the summer for all different levels, and also help to get kids scholarships and the process to go to the States and try and get scholarships. So in terms of the liberos, Wang Mungjai of China has been exceptional, and in fact, so much so, I think she's got, who's gone? Is it her or Lin? I think she's gone over Lin Li, hasn't she? For China, Wang Mungjai has been. She's the libero for the games.
Give me a minute.
Because Lin Li was more of a veteran, and I know she was at the last games. I can't say I can remember off the top of my head. Wongarantes has been brilliant for the USA. Great passer. But in terms of, it should be number 18. Yeah, so yeah, there we go. So Wang Mungjai, 1995, she's been exceptional. But China just seem to be this team that are always in the right place. Their positioning for defense means that when you watch them play, it doesn't look like they move. The ball just seems to come to where they're stood, as opposed to them having to make plays to go get the ball. And the one thing, yeah, I couldn't, when they had their full team out, I struggled to see how you're going to struggle to beat them. You're going to have to serve. The USA, or whoever plays them, is going to have to serve so well and really attack the conflict areas between the passers to stop them running their middle, because they do run the middle fast and low. And then I think maybe, depending on who's playing, if they can stack up the blocks wide, there might be chances. There won't be chances against Zhu Ting, even if she's got two blockers. Look at it, 1.98 m. You forget how tall she is for an outside hitter. That's huge on a 224 net. And she can hit over blocks. So they're going to have to, whoever's playing against her, even with two blockers, are going to have to really organize their defense behind that well to stop Zhu Ting. But the USA do have one of the best blocking teams in the world. One thing that Kazu Manley has done exceptionally well since the World Grand Prix days was this change in their blocking system of just going bang, we're across the net. We're not going up and across. We're not doing two movements. It's straight across. And you'll see that they're one of the few teams that do that and do it really well. So if their blocks set and they can serve tough, so they can double up on China, that's where they're going to have to do it. But China put so much pressure on the USA from service themselves, the USA struggled.
Yeah, right. Anything else about China, the roster? They are going. They have no serious injuries, right?
No, other than the serious amount of strapping that all the players wear. No, it's difficult to tell, isn't it? Because they've got so much strapping on shoulders and knees and everywhere else. Now, I'm pretty sure. I've said all of that about the USA, and people will be shaking their heads and going, "No, that's rubbish." I just want to make sure. Did they play? Let me just check. Hold the line, people. I think, and this could be, because he said about the Libros. Did the USA play Kim Hill as their Libro in that match?
In the last match, right? I think Kim Hill.
Yeah, so we can't discount that. But that was and I guess that's saying, right, we need a backup. Yes, so in that game, which is a good point by the volleyball development camps, they played Kim Hill as the Libro against China, and they got taken to pieces. That's why it was 25-10 in the first set, because Kim didn't have that link with the rest of the passing unit, and she struggled, the team struggled, they got beat to 10. No change made. Okay, Karch doesn't make substitutions if someone's playing badly. He's only done it once, and that was actually in the game against China, but it was Hannah Tapp was taken off, and he brought on Hayley Washington through the middle. That's probably in fact, it's the only time in the VNL he made a change for someone who wasn't playing well. He didn't take out Kim Hill. He didn't put Justine Wongarantis in because he needed to know what would happen if Wongarantis got injured, and he had to play someone, and that would have been Hill. So he was kind of stuck with that. He needed to see it through. So you could then argue, right, when they play each other in the Olympics, it could be very different. I don't think it will be a great deal of difference. I still think China are going to be too strong for everybody.
Yeah, right. Any other team you want to see the roster?
No. So interestingly, for in the men's side, I suppose, when you look at Serbia, are going to have a good, strong team. Dominican Republic have got the old guard going. They'll be difficult to play against. And then and Italy, as we mentioned, only one. Sora Cates is not there, is she, for Italy? Which I was. Oh, she is there. That's okay then. So so she can play. She can play as an opposite if needed.
Okay.
So maybe that was the thinking behind that. But quite, Pietrini 2000. There's some youngsters in there.
Sarah Louise Farr, 2001.
So again, looking to the future, looking at what they can do. I think with the players they've got a good chance, but it can't just become the Paola Egonu show. Got to be too much. They'll just, she can't take on the full load. She need the help around her. Bossetti will need to play well, and everyone in that element, so that Paola's not going against two blockers all the time.
Yeah. Talking about the liberos on the women's side, which player do you think is the best libero?
Who do I think should be the libero for
women's? The
best libero?
Yeah.
It's a good. Who's the best libero? Good question. I think I like Camilla Brake and I like Wang Runjai. I think they're both really, really good. I think the libero for Japan as well, she's great. You could have either gone with either one of them for Japan. They were both equally good, but I think, yeah, so they're strong. And of course, everybody loves, who doesn't love Brenda Castillo? I'm not sure. She actually finished top of the stats for the Libros for the VNL. I'm sure she did.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, great player. But again, she's an interesting character. She's been a bit prickly, and been in and out of the Dominican Republic team. So it, I think from that point of view, anything could. Yeah, those are all good Libros.
What do you think about Serbia? I think they're going with all the stars now.
Well, yeah, they will do. Again, what they don't need is it to become Boskovic, and just Ognjenovic, such a great setter, really good setter. So, and Brankisa's in, Mihailovic, she was another great swing hitter through the outside, and you've got Boskovic in the opposite slot. If those two are playing well, Rasic, combining as she does with Ognjenovic at club level, if they can combine well for Serbia, they're going to be difficult to play against. And you don't want to write Serbia off at all. They could well be a team that end up competing for a medal if they get it right.
Do you think they have open chances to get the silver medal like they did in
I think they do. I really do. It's a lot's going to depend if they can. Could they win their group and then give them? And if they're going to win that group, they've got to beat Brazil. They've got to beat the USA to finish top of their group, haven't they? That's tough. I think they could potentially aim for third, and then it'll be a drawing of lots to see who they play on the other side. They won't play China, but they could be playing. They could be playing Italy,
yeah.
or I think more likely they'll probably be playing maybe. Well, let me see that group. We've got China, Italy, Turkey, Argentina, Russia. So probably, I reckon we could see Serbia. I mean, Serbia got Russia in the quarterfinals. They fancy their chances of that to take them into the semis.
Okay. Well, and now we go to the men's side. Argentina. You mentioned Argentina. Argentina is a program I like a lot. Argentina. It's a lot of people say, hey, why Matthias Sanchez? Well, Matthias Sanchez is a phenomenal setter. It's the perfect substitution or double substitution for Luciano Checo, playing in the back row, and Matthias Sanchez plays a wonderful first tempo.
He was brilliant. I watched him at the World Cup in 2019, and he ran the show. He really did. He's exceptionally good pair of hands on him and a good volleyball IQ. He's not flash and flamboyant. He just finds the right people at the right time. He's great. Absolutely earned his spot to be there.
Yeah, well, Facu Conte, Loser, Danani as the libero, Seba Solé, you mentioned the middle blockers, very, very, very good. Bruno Lima, Luciano Checo. I really don't like Nicolas Mendes. I didn't watch big things. Son. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but Nicolas is not Bruno. It's not Koch, but well, yeah, it's the son of the coach. I think it's a pretty decent team, and I hope Argentina can do great things. The only medal was in Seoul '88, but I don't think they have team to battle for the medals.
No, I think they'll be looking at a fifth. I think they might make it into the quarters, and that'll be them.
Yeah. Well, what can we say of Brazil? Brazil is always competitive.
Yeah, and that team picked itself from the VNL. You just knew that was going to be the squad. You knew that Mike wasn't going to be going. It would be Tales over him, and then it was going to be a case of who wasn't going in the middle, and it's Flavio who didn't get to go. So it was. I don't think there was any doubt about this team based on what we saw at the VNL.
What do you think about Wallace? Do you think he's playing at his at the same level in Rio? Better? No, worse?
No, I think he doesn't. He's a bit like Peter Pan, isn't he? He doesn't seem to have aged at all since 2016, and watching him at the VNL and how hard he hit the ball, I was just in awe of how hard he hits the ball. If one of the hardest hitters of the ball that Brazil have got, is absolutely awesome. So yeah, he's it's just, it'd be about his temperament. As long as, you know, if he gets closed down a lot and he loses his head, then that'll be an issue. And I've only ever seen him do it once or twice, but when it happens and he's subbed out, that's it. He's gone. He's gone for the game. So if teams can get into him and they can close him down. The time I saw it was in Chicago when Russia got to him, and they got him out on the right hand side and just double blocked him and closed him down. He had no line, he had no cross court, he had nothing, and he lost it. So I've only seen that then, and I've not seen it since. So, you know, they're going to be great. Brazil are going to be so difficult to beat.
Yeah, and I think Joandro Leal is one of the best outside hitters in the world right now.
Interesting as well, though. He had a little bit of a hiccup. Both Leal and Leon, when Brazil played Poland, neither of them passed particularly well in that match at the VNL. I presume you watched it. I just thought, oh, okay. But then they got out of trouble with their serving and their hitting, and the rest of their game kind of made up for it. But it was the first time I'd really noticed that was probably a weakness for both of them. But it maybe just it was, you know, towards the end of the tournament, a bit tired maybe. But they had been rested. I know both sets of players. Leon had only played 6 matches for Poland in the lead up to the knockout stages, and Leal was also rested as such. He wasn't used a great deal of the time.
Have you read today that or yesterday Lucarelli is going to Lube next season?
Is he? It's Luca Raleigh apparently, because
Luca Raleigh.
Luca Raleigh, and only because he was in the hotel with us after they won. And this is how cool Brazil are, right? I'd gone up to Beggs, I was knackered, but a couple of the commentators were sat down just by the pool, and Schwanke came back, Douglas came back, Bruno, Lucas, Luca Raleigh, and I think it was Fernando as well, and just sat with them and talked volleyball for a good couple of hours. And one of the Jonathan Ledyard, when it went up to his room, got his pass and said, "Would you guys sign it?" So they're all signing it, and then Lucarelli signed it, and he went, "By the way, it's Luca Raleigh." I was like, "Oh, okay." So there we go. So we now know he used to be called Luca Raleigh, not Lucarelli.
Okay. Wow. France
are French. Okay, that's all I have to say about them, and it just depends which team turn up to play. We've seen that in the VNL. They can be absolutely brilliant 1 minute and absolutely awful the next. And it just depends on how they're feeling, whether they're up for it. Because if they are, they proved they can do it. They've won the World League in the past. It's a good team, but they're going to have to play well, and they're going to have to want it and believe in it and have that right mentality.
Do you think that mentality will change when Bernardo took the team after the Olympics? Of course, right?
I think something's going to give, and it won't be it won't be the coach. I think it'll be they either do what he wants or they'll be gone.
Wow. Italy, very interesting squad.
Yeah, I had a chat. So when we saw that the B team were going to the VNL, and I was chatting with Mark Lebedew, and I said, well, do you not think then that some of these kids, because for me, I said, having seen, as we all had seen what Micheletto had been doing with Trentino.
You told me that Micheletto will make the Olympics, and here is Micheletto.
Thanks. I dropped the mic now. Well, it's right. I thought, didn't I? I said at the time, I think maybe he was going there so he could get some experience of playing at high-level competition, because he didn't have any.
Lucas, he's 19 years old.
He's the same age as my son. My middle son. It's like that's, but he's also, my middle son isn't 2 meters and 5, unfortunately. So yeah, so that's brilliant. And I'm really pleased for Spatoli as well, the setter. So those two making it, I think that's excellent for them, and it shows that they played their way into the team.
Hey, I know Filippo Lanza and no Balazzo in Italy.
Lanza, you kind of get, let's put our rose tinted spectacles on and go, oh, Lanza's brilliant. Lanza was brilliant, and he was one of the best outside hitters in the world, but he isn't anymore. And that's sport. You get to that point, and you can have an affection for a player, and you can probably, some players probably get an extra year or two longer than they should because of that, over their ability, and they'll get favored over the like. So, if Lanza had been in this team and Micheletto wasn't, people wouldn't bat an eyelid. But I think but having seen, and we've all seen what Micheletto's been doing, he's a youngster, and they need that future. You've got some players here, Jiri Kovar, you've got Juan Terena, you've got Zaitsev, you've got Kalachi. That's the end of the road for them. This game's, they're gone. So who's coming through after that?
Yeah, right. Do you think Osmani? My opinion is that Osmani is declining right now.
He's 18.
He's not in his best shape.
1985. So how old is he now? 85, 95?
36.
36. He's not climbing, is he? He's not climbing. He's playing, and he'll have a really good games. But this is his last Olympics. It's his shot to try and do something well. I don't think that this team has enough in reserve that they're going to need to get them over the line. I think, if anything, we'll see this. If they got to the final, well, that would be incredible. But a bit like them in Rio, they got there, but then they didn't have enough. I think that would be the same here.
Yeah, right.
I love the way you say that. You go, yeah, right. Now in the UK, when you go, yeah, right, it means you're saying, yeah, no, you're wrong. Because it's the way.
No,
I know you're not. I know you're not. But it's the way that you say it's brilliant. Everybody be like, yeah, right. Yeah, what do you know? Nothing. You're right, though. I don't.
Oh, never. I have never.
No, I know you don't. It's just the way you say it.
No, it's a joke. It's a joke. But talking about Italy, I have never think about Italy in the last squad to be in the medals, especially in these Olympics. No.
I think not. We don't. The thing is, it's terrible, isn't it? We're saying that we're giving an opinion here, and it is only an opinion, and opinions like bumholes. We've all got one, but it doesn't mean we have to listen to it or really take notice of it. But and it's terrible. I feel bad for saying, yeah, they're not going to make it, and this isn't that, because that's not in my nature.
Do you know how bad I feel that assuming that USA on the men's side won't be in the semifinals? I think they won't be. It's hard.
Every team have their moment, and you get those peaks and troughs, and if you can get it right, depending on when people are born, and it's a lot of it's to do with that, isn't it? When they're peaking, when they're at their best, when the cycle comes around, were they in? Did they get a bit of luck? Did someone come out of the woodwork and play amazing? So many factors that go into that, over and above just picking a team. It's so many things have to fall into place for you to get a victory. And Iran, I love it.
Talking about old players, elder players, here's a very good example. Is the last chance for Maruf, for Musavi, Marandi, 86.
Yeah. And they've picked two liberos as well, haven't they, Iran, which is interesting. Marandi didn't go to the VNL, but he's in. I mean, all right, he's down as an outside, 1.72 m. He's not going anywhere. He touches 295. So he's not going to be causing any trouble to anybody at the net. So he's there as a libero backup for
Marandi and Salehi are the liberos.
Yes, exactly. So they're going with two liberos. Interesting, with 12 players.
Yeah.
The trouble we got with Iran, Ghaffur with his back problems, which are plaguing him. I mean, he's such a good opposite, but I reckon that might be that one selection that we see that he's being picked on what he's done in the past. When if we looked at the VNL, he played twice in 15 matches, I think, if that, and he set for some of it, didn't he? He was setting, but so Kazemi's going to be the starting opposite, I think, because I think Gaffal might start, but if he gets his back problem, he's gone. So Kazemi's going to be playing a lot. If I was taking a punt, and I know everyone loves Gaffal, but maybe like Italy have taken Micheletto, should Iran have taken Sadat, the other opposite, the youngster?
Yeah.
Because he's, that's the next generation, and he's missed out this time, but he played great when he came on. Sadat was amazing. All right, he's a youngster and he's still learning, and he made those rookie errors, but why not throw him into an Olympics? Because this team's going to change again. There's Maruf. It was his last Olympics. He may, who knows? He is so good, good. You wouldn't put it past him. And who's going to take his place? I think that actually is he 2 meters and over 2 meters, isn't he? The backup setter. He's so you've got two very different types of setter. But is anyone ever going to be as good as Maruf? Probably not.
Do you think Alegno will continue to Paris to the next squad?
I don't know. I guess it's
with Iran, you never know with Iran.
Well, no, you don't. But the problem that Iran have had over the years is having the foreign coaches who didn't speak the language, who had an interpreter or spoke in English and hoping that they would do it. And you could see that after a while, the players just switched off, and then they were having conversations on their own that the coach couldn't understand.
Yeah, Raul Lozano, Kodakovic, now Alegno.
Exactly, but with Alegno now, he's got his interpreter called Kazu Manley. Now, Kazu Manley is from Taekwondo. He is an Iranian who lives in Russia, and the story of him is he found out about Alegno going to Iran and volunteered to go as his interpreter for free, because he's such a fan of Iran and wanted to be involved. So he's doing that. And the fascinating thing is, Alegno has told him that when he speaks to the players, and if Alegno speaks to them in Russian, which he obviously is doing, but if the tone he's talking in, like, I want this doing, and this needs to happen, and that needs to happen, the interpreter has to interpret and say in Persian with the same tone to let the players know exactly what is being said and how it's being said. So it's not just a case of, all right, lads, you need to do this. Coach has said do this. It's word for word translation with the same emphasis exactly. So Alegno really getting across that he means business and he's not going to be messed around. So fascinating little sort of insight into what's going on with the way that he's coaching. He's not going to be put in that position of the previous coaches, Lazal and Lozano and Kodakovic, of the players just doing their own thing. He's not going to allow it, and he's setting his stall out very early with that.
Wow. Okay. Let's see what happens. We will go now with Poland. Poland is also a very attractive team, very strong team. Really interesting mix with all players and young players. I think it's amazing. It's amazing the job Poland is doing.
Just incredible, really. It's an embarrassment of riches for Vital Heinen as far as that goes. When you look at what he's got, and he's only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only 5 players are making their Olympic debut in this at this 12. So 7 players have Olympic experience. Novakovsky's been in 12 and 16, Kurek in 12 and 16, Zhuzga in 16, Womack in 16, Kubiak 12 and 16. You've got then after that, Bieniek in 16 and Zatorsky in 16. So making their debuts, Semeniuk, Kowanowski, Slivka, and of all people, Wilfredo Leon making his Olympic Games debut.
Semeniuk also is a
Semeniuk, yeah, I have him making his debut. I don't think he was in the squad in 16.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at that and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players who've won the Champions League just recently.
How many from the World Championship in 18?
In 2018, you've got, that's a good question. I haven't written it down on my crib sheet. So this is my crib sheet at the moment for the games. So that's what I'll be using.
Okay,
amazing. A little bit of information on the players. Yeah, and then so you can see I just got what they've done in the Olympics, the player, what they've done recently, who they're with, where they finished in the league, height, weight, heights, what they've done in the Olympics, and then what I'll do. So this here for the match, I'll put in the starting 6. Then there'll be a little historical of what the starting 6 was, the score, and then I'm also going to put the points scored by the players during that game. And then over here during the course of the tournament, I will update that with points scored. So these I'll fill in pencil. That I'll fill in pencil. So I've got one sheet I can go to, and then off the back of that, volleybox.net. You guys are great. I get loads of really cool information that I can go just sort of dig that extra little bit deeper into the players. But what I don't want to be taking is I don't need an encyclopedia of notes, because they just become a comfort blanket, and it doesn't get used. You've listened to my commentating. How often do I talk about stats? No, I'm talking about the game that's going on, don't I? I talk about what's happening and so on. So it would just be really. So here's Novakovsky, currently playing for Plavia. He's been there since 2019. They finished third. The season just gone. That's it. That's we go. There we know a little bit about him. Right, let's get on with what's going on and the game. As far as that goes.
Yeah, that's what people want to hear.
They don't need an in-depth bio. They just want to, a bit of interesting information about the guy or the girl, where they played, what they're doing, and then let's get on with it. And how many points have they scored so far, so we can get to see. And I've also got a little tally of total blocks and total aces for each of the matches. So I get a kind of a feel, sort of the thing of how well a team are serving and how good their blocking is working. I know it's a bit superficial, because you could have a team that makes no block points, but are channeling the ball into the defense and getting it back and getting loads of transition points. So maybe I could include transition points, but that's digging too deep for me. That's more than I want to go into.
Perfect. And now with Russia, or Russian Olympic Committee, what do you think about Russia? Musersky is not going for the second Olympics in a row.
Yeah, back injuries put him out, isn't it?
Blasov is not going. Pretty amazing.
Do you know what? I had this conversation again with Mark Lebegy. We were talking about it, and he told me, he said, no, Blasov won't go. I'm like, you're joking. He won't. No, he won't go. He said it will be Kakayev will go instead of him. It will be Kakayev, Volvic, and the other middle blocker. So Volvic, isn't it? And I was surprised. But then with Musersky not going, I thought, well, maybe he will get in, because actually they were looking at Musersky going as an opposite and not a middle. So that's I think that's a team that can do well. They can play well. Kliuka, God, goodness me, he hit some ridiculous shots, some absolutely ridiculous angles in the VNL. I didn't think they were possible.
You commented this very, very angled shot.
Yeah. Well, the 4 to 4 inches. Yeah. I said it was a great big. You have to stop that. That's a great big showy off hit. And I've never seen anyone do that against two blockers and a defender. And he's hit inside the defender to within a foot of the side of the net. That's like, you're kidding. That was incredible. So those guys have got some serious skills, but I think they may struggle a little bit. I'm not sure the passing is going to be where they need it to be as effective as they want.
Well, USA, we arrive again with USA.
There's promise there. There's some players for the future. Torrey DeFalco wouldn't be there if Russell was fit. Jeski and Garrett Muagditi are above him potentially. But again, the coach has been shown a lot of faith in him and played. He's had a lot of court time at the VNL. Has DeFalco again, because it's a player who's going to be a starter in the not too distant future, and looking along with Carl Ensing to carry the team. But you've got a few players that I guess you could say are creaking. 1987, 3 players at 87, 88, 85 for Smith. So there's quite a lot of players that are going to go, you feel, are going to not be around after this Olympics, or maybe after the Grand Champions Cup, potentially.
Yeah, Matt Anderson, David Smith are going for their 3rd Olympics.
Yeah.
Max Holt also.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of experience in the team. That's for sure.
Okay. And Japan. Do you know if Nishida is fully recovered?
I don't actually, but I know there's a lot of fans aren't happy with is it Yanagida, who's not didn't go to the VNL, not selected, didn't fit the plans of the team, but you kind of feel, okay, well, through the outside, who they've got of course they've got Ishikawa, and then there's Kenta Takanashi. Is it Kenta? Ran, isn't it? Ran, yeah. But and the libro's fine, really good libero, 2 passes, but I just think that they're going to struggle a little bit with a third. In terms of the 3 power hitters, Shimizu and Ishikawa, and who's the third? That could be their undoing. But again, when they play well, they pass, they play well, play fast, they can run rings around teams.
Well, let's remember that they beat Russia in 5 sets, but Japan can't go to 5 sets any match.
Well, they won. The thing is, they won their first 3 matches in week 1 in the VNL. Great. Then they lost their next 3 the next week. So they kind of went up here and then down there. They're just going to have to time it right. Now, I did hear, and I don't know if this is true or not, but as the home side in an Olympics, you do have some say over who you play and when. You can pick to play certain teams in your pool at certain times to give yourself a good chance to play well. So they'll be looking at that, and the teams that they can get the best result from at the right time. They know they'll beat Venezuela. They're going to go, I'd imagine they're going to beat Iran. Canada, if Canada are playing well, they've got the capability. John Gordon Perrin, Nicholas Hogue, Tyler Sanders, he's recovering from an injury for his back, but there's a great setter. They've got options in the middle, and then they've got Sclater and of course Big Vern through in the opposite slot. Now, if Big Vern's playing well, Canada could be a threat. Canada, again, you kind of think, all right, well, maybe they could sneak in. They could finish 4th, but then they'd probably be playing. So whoever's finishing 4th in Pool A, I think is going to be playing against Brazil in Pool B. I think Brazil will win Pool B.
Okay, your positions or your favorites for the medals?
I think for just I think that so the 8 teams, I think Brazil, Poland, Italy, France, Japan, Iran. I've gone for Iran over Canada eventually, but that's a close one. And then Argentina, I think, will get out. So, which means we're going to have, you're kind of thinking, I think medals, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Brazil, Poland playing for gold.
I do agree with you.
That's, I think, and then Italy and France.
France, yeah. Yeah, well, my top 3, it's Poland, Brazil, and France.
Mm-hmm.
And the 4th, maybe Italy, or even Russia, maybe.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
They get it right. That would be my guess as well. I can't wait. Can't wait to see it all unfold and then when we look back at this and realize just how wrong I was.
Hey, just tell us a little more about the referees. How many referees were scheduled in the beginning? How many referees are going now?
I would love to tell you exactly that. What I can tell you is that they did cut the numbers. That's all I know. I was chatting with Patty Rolfe from the USA. She's going. It's her last Olympics. She's retiring and then moving into the same role that Guy Bradbury has. So as a referee delegate to help with the coaching and stuff of referees. So she'll stay within the game. But most of the referees we saw at the VNL were the ones, in fact, all of them that were there, not all of them, but the ones that are going to the Olympics were the ones that were at the VNL because it was their opportunity to get some referees.
Well, plus Susana, I think, from Spain, right? Plus Susana.
Oh, yes, Susanna as well. But she didn't go to the VNL. So Susanna's going, yes. So exactly that. It's going to be interesting. It get quality referees. I was so impressed with the refereeing level. And you just know, you don't mess with Hernan Casamichaela because he's hilarious. He's just like, this is not possible. It is not possible. Off you go. It is not. I think that's his favorite word. It is not possible. It's brilliant. The refereeing level again is going to be great. And like I say, when I introduce the referees, we'll know if they've had a good game because we don't notice them. And I think that was prevalent throughout most of the VNL. We didn't notice the referees. It was just concentrating on the level of volleyball that was going on.
Okay, and the stream will be there will be stream in the Volleyball World app, not right? It depends in every broadcaster in every country.
This is right. So because the Olympic Games are run by the IOC, the Volleyball World, FIVB, don't run these games. They don't have any input into them. The teams go and the FIVB supply the referees, and that's it. So it will be going out around the world, and the Olympic Broadcast Service are the service that are the rights holders. So they are the host broadcaster, and what that means, they film it all, and then people buy the rights. So rights holders are those that will buy the rights to show certain matches that they want to show in their country. Within that, they can also buy English commentary if they want it, or
CLAYTON Lucas.
Well, and Jonathan Ledyard and Mark Perkins, who is also going to be doing some commentary as well. So yes, and so we're what called a guide comms effectively. So, and the way that works is you take it the match with no commentary, you take it with full commentary, or as sometimes they'll do is they'll take it and then the person who's going to be commentating is kind of listening to what's being said and then commentates in their own language. So, and it'll be going out, all over the world. Depends who knows where and who knows when. So I could pop up somewhere around the world. And I often do, actually. People go, I'm in Dubai. I've just heard you commentating. Oh, right. Okay.
But for example, in your case, the English broadcast, that's what the BBC will reply in England, or not exactly?
Yeah, so the BBC or ITV, if they're going to take any of the volleyball, they will use the OBS commentary crew. I'm not aware that they are sending or having anyone commentate volleyball for the BBC directly. So they will. In Rio at the Olympics, the men's final was on the BBC live, and that was Jonathan Ledyard and myself. So they just said, over to the volleyball with Jonathan Ledyard, CLAYTON Lucas. So as far as anyone watching was concerned, we were working for the BBC.
Okay, perfect. CLAYTON, it's gonna be. I wish you a very, very amazing Olympic Games.
Thanks.
Very good transmissions. I'm pretty sure you are doing it very, very well, and I hope we can meet again after the Olympics.
Well, maybe we should have some Tokyo connections. I'm not sure about the time difference though.
It's plus 14 hours.
Okay, that's fine. That'll work.
Yeah, no problem. When you finish, it's gonna be my 6 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So
6 a.m. here, 8 p.m. in Tokyo. So I have no problem.
okay,
Yeah,
we'll see if we can make it work.
I will be happy, yeah, to do that, of course.
Okay, I'll let you know how we're getting on, because the first 14 days I'm in quarantine, and it's only hotel and venue. That's it. Nowhere else.
Okay, well, wish you the best, Clayton. It will be a pleasure to have you again here in Tokyo Connections, of course.
Okay,
Okay,
my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Excuse me.
wish you the best. In 1 hour, I will have here Raul Lozano, the Argentinian coach, three-time Olympian with Spain, with
So Ed,
Iran.
so all I want to say then is I'm really sorry, Raul, lo siento, that I've just talked a load of rubbish, and in fact he's going to give the real story and give you all the right stuff about who's going to do
No.
well at the Olympics.
It's just a different point of view.
Yeah, you more, a different point. I love you. That's so nice. A different point of view. Yeah, an actual professional point of view.
Okay, let me show you something. Please don't go. Give me
Okay.
5 more minutes.
Okay.
I want to show you something. Yeah, well, 1 month ago, I decided no more volley talks. Let's make some volleyball connections. Then, or now, Tokyo talks. I will be talking with some international volleyball personalities.
Brilliant.
Like you. Well, later today, Raul Lozano, amazing guy, very, very funny. Very funny in the cameras, in the court, not so much. He's very energetic. He's a three-time Olympian. He was the head coach in the past for 5 national teams: Spain, Iran, who else? Germany, and I don't remember the others.
Did he do Poland?
Yeah, Poland. Yeah, Poland. I think Poland before Stefan Antiga, I think.
Yeah, very good.
Chava Gonzalez, 4-time Olympian volleyball coach for Mexico, beach volleyball coach. Cecilia Tait, Peruvian legend.
Do you you've got to speak to Jippy yet? She played for Peru as well. Jippy Duarte, Giselle Duarte.
Not yet.
Oh well, she'll definitely want to have a chat with her, because obviously she lit the flag. That's brilliant. She did the lighting for the Pan American Games, and Giselle was working as the games sort of host to bring it to life. So you have kind of 2 different stories about that, as well as their volleyball careers.
GP Duarte, he commented in the volley talks a few times. Yeah, she were connected in the volley talks.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I will contact her, of course. And from next week, Shema, the rock star of the beach volleyball referees right now.
Rockstar.
CLAYTON Lucas here. And also in 2 weeks, he's today, CLAYTON Lucas. And next week, my very good friend, Dennis Cespedes. I know that in English is said Cespedes or Cespedes.
So how should I pronounce it?
Dennis Cespedes. He's right now, he took a vacation. He told me, hey, I gotta disconnect totally from volleyball. He's right now in the beach in the Dominican Republic. And let's make the program on Friday, July 16th, next week.
Brilliant.
How do you see the roster?
I think you've got a star-studded lineup yet again, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I talked with my very good friend Thomas Amelbuo, and he told me, hey, maybe let's make it happen. I know it's very difficult for him, for Lucas Lave, for Vital Heinen, Erin Virtu. It's almost impossible. I understand very well. They are preparing for Tokyo, but hopefully before Olympics.
No, that'd be great. I mean, you've got something very special here that you are creating, and it's just keep it going. It's amazing. It's such a good um, series. You're getting to speak to some of the best people in the world, most knowledgeable people in the world. Not me. I'm just the filler. While you get the good guys and girls in, but it's brilliant. It's so great. Like listening to Doug Beal today, I tuned into that one. What a just fascinating, great insights.
He's a mastermind of volleyball, and he's a so mastermind of volleyball that now he's running USA Surfing.
Yeah, how cool is that? I know you said to him, have you been on a board? Yeah, he's like, no.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know he was helping out with the surfing until I saw the.
And he lives in the mountains in Colorado, and he runs USA Surfing.
Brilliant. Yeah, perfectly normal. Perfectamente normal. Yeah.
Clayton, let me tell you something just between you and me.
Okay.
Here in Mexico, I'm not so well received.
Really?
Oh, really?
Because you're doing something that people are jealous?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Then let them be jealous.
It's only between you and me.
Okay. Yeah, let them be jealous. That's fine. You just keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. You're a fan who loves the game, and you have decided to do something about it and ask the people. You know, it's so. I spent so many years traveling the world, commentating on all these matches, and never speaking to the coaches or the players because I didn't want to intrude on what they were doing. I didn't want to take up their time. I was there to commentate about them. They don't know me. I know a lot about them, but that's how it should be. And it was only through my coaching and being on a coaching pathway that the mentor I had was saying, so what do you do? And I explained what I did. He went, so you have access to some of the world's top coaches. I said, well, they are where I'm at. And you haven't spoken to any of them? No. Why not? Because I'm a bit scared. Well, you need to get over that and find a time and have a chat with them. Ask them questions. You've got a great source of information that you can help to develop your coaching. They're there. Talk to them. And so that was, that's how Mark and I met effectively. Mark had, I'd gone to commentate in Australia for a weekend, and Australia were playing. He was in the hotel in the evening. I went up and said hello, and said, "Do you mind if I ask you a few coaching questions?" He went, "No, sure, come on." And that was that. And then same with Paolo Barros, same with Steve Tutton. He's wondering, he's there at the FIVB now, the Australian coach, and sort of just the ability to speak to these people and making the most of those opportunities. And that's what you're doing. You have decided, I want to find out about this stuff, and that's what you're doing. So people that are jealous is because they are not doing it, because they sit back, oh, that's not right. Oh, he's not very good. I don't like this. Well, you don't like it because you're not doing it. That's all it is.
Yeah, right. Well, 165 volley talks, 8 volley connections.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. You don't like what I'm doing? 165 volley talks. Thank you.
Yeah. With the people from 30 countries in the 5 continents, 55 of them in English. My English is not the best, but
your English is very, very good.
I try.
It's very good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Well, I can get there, of course, but well, you have to start. You have to start. You have to go live, and you will make some mistakes, of course. But that's the only, or not the only. That's not the only. Is the fastest way to learn.
Of course, it is. There was a fascinating talk I saw at a volleyball convention I went to in America. And the guy was talking about psychology and talked about the jungle tiger and the zoo tiger. And most of us fall into the category of being a zoo tiger. We're in the cage, we get fed, it's nice and warm and it's all cozy. We don't have to do anything. But the jungle tiger, they don't go and find their food. They don't go out and do those things. They don't survive. And we need to become more like that. If you want to do well in whatever it is you want to do well in, you've got to be that jungle tiger. You've got to go out there and get it. And that's what you've done. So, rah, to you.
Oh, yeah, and well, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed this a lot. For geographical reasons, I'm more close to USA Volleyball, of course. But for example, with Igor Kolakovic, with Mark Lebedo, with Tomas Samelbuo, I searched for them in Facebook and I sent them a request, a friend request. What had happened? What's the worst that had happened?
Look, they don't. Yeah, you just say no.
Yeah, they
Nothing
said yes.
ventured. Yeah.
They said yes. I started to talk with them, with Kolakovic, with Samuel Buo, with the Cubans, with the Argentinians, and when I invited them to the show, all of them, all of them told me yes, of course, I would be pleased, of course. Doug
Cool.
Beal, John Kessel, Jamie Davis, the CEO of USA Volleyball, Cecile Renaud, all of them said yes at the first time.
Brilliant. And that's what. And now you're building that. And now you're building this. Like say 165 talks. People know about it. Those people that you've spoken to talk about it and spread it out. So then they become more conscious. So it'll just keep growing. You're going to have this huge library of talks.
Yeah, and I know, and I think that we, the volleyball people, are responsible for the growth of the game. Nobody else.
Yeah.
Not the people from soccer or cricket or rugby or baseball. No, we, the people of volleyball.
I agree.
Well,
but who's moving the chair around? Is that you?
Sorry?
Someone was moving a chair about. I could hear something moving. Are you there on your own?
My chair? Yeah, it's my chair. My chair?
Chair.
Chair?
Chair, yeah.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, it's me. Okay, Clayton, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
I wish you the best, safe travels, and I will be very, very pleased to make some Tokyo connections, of course.
Okay, excellent. Hasta luego.
Adios.